Hey. Today's video is going to be about a line set installation on a mini split heat pump. This is an ongoing project I'm doing in the garage. Now I've had a few people that wanted to see about the line set installation, so I'm going to make a detailed video about it. I looked on YouTube to see if there's anything out there. I didn't see anything. A lot of the people that I saw, they took their line sets, you know, where they have an excess length, and then they would take it and just kind of throw it right over top of the condenser. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to cut these lines to the length they need. We're going to flare it. So I'm going to cover all of that. We're going to cover the bending of this tubing. We're going to get our bends in the right place, hopefully. And so it should be an interesting video. So because it's going to be detailed, so it's going to be probably about 30 minutes or so, you know, for the ones that want to see it. And you may want to be doing one of these jobs yourself. As an update, all of the electrical is now done. It's been wired. I got all the outlets in. And of course, in a garage, every 15 or 20 amp receptacle has to be on the GFCI circuit. Or at least the outlets has to be protected. GFCI. So also one other thing here is I'm talking about the electrical. I decided to go ahead and put in some extra lighting up here. I'll give you a quick shot of that in just a second here. So I've got LED lighting, 9,000 lumens of light, so it makes a big difference. And finally, when we're going to go out here to the condenser. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. The stand that I ordered, I wasn't quite happy with it, so I made some modifications on it, so I'll go over that a little bit. And then right after that, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go right into the line set installation. So let me give you a quick shot of the lighting here so you can see the difference in it. This is the lighting that I'm using up here. They're 4-foot fixtures. Probably a little bit hard to tell with the light, but anyway, I got a J box up there, and there you go, you can see it now. And so you can see I came down with a kick 90 and came back in the junction box, and then I got my switch, you know, right over there. And then this is where I'm just using one GFCI outlet in here, and then I'm down feeding all of these other receptacles here. One other thing is, I did decide I went ahead, this AC recovery machine is on a separate circuit, so it's on a GFCI outlet. All the others are on just standard receptacles. Okay, so that gives you a quick update to where I'm at on the electrical. Okay, so let's head out there to the condenser and let's go over that a little bit. Alright, this is the outside condensing unit. And this is what you can see that I've done here. This here bracket that I've ordered, I pretty much heavily modified it, shortened the legs. I got rubber insulator pads down here, rubber insulator pads here, and they had this here Z bracket, which I didn't like, that came with this here stand. So what I did here is I got 1x3 tubing, got plastic end caps on all of it to keep the weather out. Okay. Also, already got the duct ran. May have to put a little bit more right here for the final connections of the line set. And it comes on down. You can see I got the control cable. It's already in there. And also up there at the top, you can see that's where the connections for the refrigerant's going to go. And also there's the condensate line. And also what I've done here is I also have these here brackets. I'll be putting a tie wrap through here on these here brackets all the way down that'll hold the line set, you know, in the control cable. And of course I'm going to be using tie wraps that's rated for outdoor use and UV rated, you know, for the sun's rays, and also should be protecting that. One other thing here, all of the electrical has been done. This is right now is wired up for 240 volts. There's the disconnect. I already have the liquid tight there. So let's get ready to get this here line set in. When you get your line set, you'll see that it will be in a coil. So the first thing to do is unravel it, uncoil it, and make it straight as possible. and try to have a flat surface while you're doing this. And I'm using a driveway for this. I'm going to inspect the flaring on this here one end. If I don't need to reflare it, then I'm not going to bother it. But I do have to do the other one because I have to cut the line to length and also reflare that end. Now the flares look good, but I'm going to take a flaring gauge block here. This is for R410A flaring size here. So this here will gauge these flares to make sure they're the right size. And that one is perfect as far as a 1/2 inch OD. And this one over here for the 1/4 inch. Perfect. And like I said, the flares look really good. So I'm not going to bother with these. So we're going to put the caps back in here. These plastic caps keep the debris from getting inside there. And now I'm down at the other end. This here insulation is molded together. So to cut this tubing, what I'm going to do, give me a little bit more room, is I'm just going to separate here at the perforation. Comes apart pretty good. And what I want to do is I think I'm going to cut off about 2 feet of this here line set. Now this line set is 5 meters long, or about 16 feet long. And my line set should be around about 12 feet long when we get through. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut these here fittings off right now.
Oh, the magic.
The magic is happening. Alright, so that's one. Now let's get this here 1/4 inch line.
Oh.
Alright. I don't want any debris coming down inside of these here tubing, so I'm going to put a little bit of painter's tape on there just to keep stuff out. And now I'm going to take this insulation and we're going to pull it on off. Now, as you can see, the insulation has been pulled off of both of the lines just laid out, and at this point straighten it out as the tubing as much as you can. Now these two marks I've marked off 24 inches from this end, so I'm going to cut this tubing right here. You don't need to see that again since you've already seen it. Save a little bit of time. Now of course after it's cut, then I've retaped the ends to keep debris out. Alright, I came to the insulation, came to the end, I measured off 20 inches, and I've cut these two pieces off at 20 inches. For these two pieces that we cut off earlier, that was 24 inches. I want to have 2 inches exposed on each end. So we're going to use this here to get our measurements over there on the duct on the wall to figure out where we need to put these bends at, so it will fall right there in the duct, in the elbow, and all that kind of stuff. So now we're just going to take this and we're going to slide it on, okay? And then we're going to slide this one on. Now, these two pieces are going to be coming down in the duct like so. Now, I've already measured between the center of the two tubings here, and that's 1 1/8 inch. So I need to take into account that also. So now we're going to go over there and we're going to do some putting this in there in the duct to see where we need to be at. Now, one final thing is I'm going to take some duct tape, and I'm just going to take these here two insulations together so it'll maintain that distance, so I don't have to sit here and try to hold it by hand. In fact, I'll just go ahead and I'll just put one piece right in the middle for good measure. Okay, so there we go. There's our little template for making the measurements. We're going to take our template. Now, looking up here at the top, the line set is coming out from the evaporator. You can see that the large line is over on the left. You can see the smaller line is on the right. So that means that the large line coming over here on the left is going to come down, and then when we bend it, it's going to come down on the bottom.
Right.
Therefore, I need to put my line set in here. I want to center it in the duct. And that looks pretty good. And then I want to make a mark to the center line of each one of these here tubings. So that looks like there's a center line for that one, center line for that, and we look like we're going across there pretty good.
Right.
Okay. Now we're going to turn it over, and we're coming down this way. Okay. And I'm just going to make a mark right here for the center line of this one, and for the center line of that one. And the reason we're doing that for these two marks is that we need a center line measurement from here down to where the service valves are at on the condensing unit, so we know where to make a 90 at down there. So this is going to be our reference mark. And I'm just making sure, because we got a one-shot deal at getting this right. So that looks pretty good. Okay. Now I have a 9/16 line wrench up here on this smaller line for this fitting, and I'm going to loosen up this plastic cap. Now this should be pressurized. Should be some nitrogen in here.
I hear it.
Slowly bleed it off. Hear it? Okay. Now we got the pressure bled off of these the line sets here. So now we'll get a wrench. I'm gonna hold this fitting, and then I'm gonna just screw this plastic cap off. You don't have to worry about the pressure because now it's all out. All right, on the large fitting, I got a 3/4 line wrench on here, holding it, and I'm just taking a pair of channel locks and just loosening up that plastic cap. Okay. Alright, I got Saray up there holding the tape measure on the fitting, the large fitting, and I'm looking to be at 67 inches. That's where our large line should fall out at. So, let's go ahead, let's get that bend and get him done. Okay, I'm on the end of the flare that's going to connect up to the line set that's up there at the top of the duct. This is the large pipe, 1/2 inch OD, and I'm going to mark out 67 inches. That's just what we measured. So I'm going to put a mark right there. Now whenever you get through making measurements, whatever, always get that line plug cap back in there. We do not want any debris to get inside this copper tubing. Alright, now we're going to make this bend. Now, you remember I took the measurement down from this end, so this is going to be called a left-hand bend since I took my measurement from the left-hand side. If I took it from the right-hand side, then that would be a right-hand bend. Alright, so down here, this is our mark for our 67 inches. Now we're going to have to deduct the radius of this here bend to allow to where we want it to be, which is at 67 inches on the center of that bend going down towards the condensing unit. So here's a 1/2 inch tubing, left bend, line it up, slide over here, you see the hook alignment mark, put a mark, line it up right over top of that. And just kind of, you spin it right on around if you want to, so you can see it. Okay? Now, we take our bender. I've already got it set for a 1/2 inch tubing. You can also do 1/4 and 3/8 with this here bender. Put it in the shoe for the 1/2 inch. That new mark that we made, we're going to slide it down to the hook alignment bar right here, back side, lined up with the mark. Then we're going to come down in here and we are going to bend that tubing. Like I said, we got a one-shot deal on this. Now it has the degree marker on here for a scale, so I'm just pushing it on around till I get to 90 degrees. And that looks pretty good to me. Now what I like about this bender is you can see it does one sharp 90, one sharp radius here. You will never be able to do that by hand. And since we're in this duct, in that elbow, you're not going to be able to bend that by hand because you're going to get a really long, big radius. And then you'll find out that it won't even be inside there. So that looks pretty good. Now, if we done this right, if I measure from the end down to here, we should be in the center of this tubing here, 67 inches. So let's see if we are.
Fingers crossed.
Come on now, don't you have some faith? So again, I go to the end of the flare. And we come down. Oh, let's lift it off. And as you can see, we're 67 inches dead in the center of this tubing.
And you're good.
I just make it up as I go. You know the old saying, once in a while a blind squirrel gets an acorn once in a while, right?
There you go.
All right, so now that one is done. Looks good. A little final check here. You can also use a framing square to check your 90. Yeah, it looks like I need to go in just a hair. For little small tweaks, you can do it by hand with no problem. And that looks pretty good to me. Okay. All right, this is a 1/4 inch OD. I figured I'd show you the same thing, a little bit different take up, different shoe, so I'll show that procedure. Now in this case, it measured out to be 63 1/8 for the mark you saw earlier that we're going to be making a 90 down in that elbow. So now we were set for a 1/2 inch OD. So now we loosen the knob here for the hook alignment bar, and then we're going to drop it down to 1/4 inch. Tighten it up. And then we're going to place it in the 1/4 inch shoe. And now we find our mark. We bend this down, and now this time we're going to be using a scale here for the 1/4 inch, still a left hand bend. So we're going to take this mark and line it right up here on our mark that we measured. So we move it in there. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And then we just make a 90. Okay. And there we go.
Nice.
Now, this one should be 63 1/8 inches. Let's verify that that is okay.
Da-da-da.
All right, you're going to have to get over top of this copper tubing here. So I can swing it around.
Okay.
Gracious, ones keep falling off. Come here. Come here. And if you look right there, you can see that it comes right down 63 1/8 to the center of the tubing. So that looks good. Alright, so I'm measuring to the center line of these valves. They both look to be about the same. And I'm measuring to the flat part of this here outside of the condenser. And I'm looking at it, I'm going to say that looks like 1 inch. Maybe a little more. Maybe, okay, let's call it 1 1/8 inch. Okay? And the one on the top, yeah, 1 1/8 inch. From there, center line. All right, let's get a measurement down to the lines that we were made originally. First one I'm going to be looking at is for the large tubing. So we're going to go all the way down there. So Ray is going to put it on that mark that we made earlier. We're going to get a straight edge. And I am looking at 57 7/8. So 1 1/8 inch will be what? 59? I believe so. Okay. Alright, that measurement was 59 inches. That was measured from the center of that tubing over there that's going up, and then over here 59 inches. So now we're going to deduct out our radius right here. And I'm just going to kind of carry it around just a little bit. Okay. And on this bend, remember, this one is coming down vertically, down on the outside wall. This is going to run horizontally. And now we need to put a bend up this way, heading out to the service valve, to the condensing unit. You got it?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm already set for, nope, I am not set. So I need to set this back.
Back to the big one.
Back to the 1/2 inch, because the last one we did was 1/4 inch. Alright, so we're on the 1/2 inch. Make sure we're in the 1/2 inch shoe.
It's not going to come down? How's it going to come up toward us?
Well, I'll have to make sure
Yeah.
that I have to turn it like this, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I'm getting my mark lined up. Okay.
Yeah. tricky a little bit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And there,
Oh,
that looks
how you get it to come out?
not too bad. Just have to do a little tiny massaging on it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so we need to make sure that we got 59 inches. Is right?
Yep.
Why don't you go over there and line me? No need, I can see where we're at. Right there. Let me make sure we're down here in the center. That looks good. Right there. And you can see 59 inches. We're right in the center.
59 inches.
So we're good. Okay. Now we already done the bend for the 1/4 inch ODs. You can see it. We got it laying right here, you know, beside the 1/2 inch tubing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this insulation and we're going to slide it over there. Now, as you remember, this insulation was together. But to put both of these on at the same time is going to be a big hassle in trying to slide it. So what we've done, Soraya and I, we have went ahead and split the insulation. So we're going to be putting it on one at a time. So basically, we'll start down on the end, and we'll just go ahead and feed this stuff on all the way up until we get to the fitting that's up there, you know, at the top. That's going to connect to the line set. So we're going to be doing that. No need to bore you with the details of sliding some insulation on. Now once you get your insulation on, it should kind of look a little something like that. Right now we've temporarily, we have these here 2 lines. They're placed in the duct. I temporarily, lightly put those fittings on, so I haven't tightened them up yet. So they come down, as you can see, and as you can look down in the elbow. They fell right in there perfect from our measurements. They continue horizontally. Here's our 90, where they line up with our service valves. And then what I did is I put a 30-degree kick on both of these lines so that they will line up with the angle of these here 2 service valves. So I measured that angle, 30 degrees. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape. So now what I've done is I've marked to where we're going to cut the lines, and then we're going to flare them. So I'll show you that in the next step. Now the manufacturer recommends, and I think most HVAC techs recommend, that you'll have some flaring nuts here that's on the equipment itself. The recommendation is to use these fittings here versus the ones that were on the line set.
Okay.
I think they're probably a little bit more heavier duty. They're thicker. So we're going to be using these here. Now I'm going to be taking down the line set because I don't really have a lot of room in here, so I'm going to take this down so I'll have the room to cut it, flare it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll catch you guys in the next shot once I get the line set down and we get ready to cut the tubing and get ready to flare it. Alright, I've already cut it to the length to where it needs to be, and I also put the insulation on here, cut off a piece, and also I have the flaring nut on there also. Alright, so we're going to take the deburring tool and I'm going to angle the tubing down. I don't want any shavings in there. Okay. And now, let's put this here flaring block tool on. It's got a stop to adjust it for the right height for the copper tubing. Make sure we get that right. Looks good to me. This is Hillmore's orbital flaring tool. Has a ratchet on it, a clutch. Once we hit the right spot in making this flare, then it's gonna, clutch will start slipping on us, like it did then. Then we'll back it back out. And loosen up the tool, then slide it off. Then if you take a look in there, you can see makes pretty nice flare. Okay, see how we look. Perfect. Goes right in there. And last thing I like to do is take a little bit of Scotch-Brite, come back on the back side behind the flare, just kind of rub it a little bit. Alright, same procedure was done for the 1/4 inch line here, flaring. Now I'm putting a little bit of sealant lubricant around the flare part here of this here fitting. Helps with a better seal. This here is Nylog. They also, the manufacturer also, they send some also. So that's what I'm using. Yep. Perfect flare looking there. Hopefully we should not have any leaks. So right now I'm just going to snug it up here, finger tight. Then I'm going to come back with a digital torque wrench, and then we're going to torque it to the manufacturer specs. Let's go down here. Alright. If you get in here close, you can see what I'm doing.
Perfect.
Same thing I'm doing here is I'm just going to snug it up, and as you can see we got the large line in, so now we're going to get the smaller line in. We're going to do the same exact procedure. Now once we get that done, then we'll come back again. Okay, we have these connections done. They're torqued. I'll go over that in just a little bit. And I went ahead and tied the control cable in. Got a strain relief here. Got a drip loop down here. Sure you got a drip loop here. And I went ahead and put the cover on. I extended the duct a little bit further. And I'm going to leave this part open for right now, but you can see what it looks like. And up here at the top, I left that open so I can get to the fittings. So we can do a pressure test on here. We'll put nitrogen in it. I'm going to use some ultrasonics and also a bubble test, to check these fittings. Those up there. And also, the ones that stand here on the condenser. Going over this here torque settings. Now what I used was Hillmore's digital torque wrench, which is designed for flare fittings on refrigeration units. And this is just one of the settings here. So for example, what the manufacturer wants you to do. Now this here is a preload, 25.8 foot-pounds. This is for the 1/2 inch flare nut. So you tighten it up, you loosen the flare nut, And then they want you to torque it up to 26.6 foot-pounds. And then on the 1/4 inch line, if I can get over here to you, and now on the 1/4 inch line, you preload it up to 11 foot-pounds, and then loosen the fitting, and then you torque it up to 11.8. Alright, that's going to wrap up this here video. And next upcoming video, we're going to do the pressure tests, and we're going to do pull the vacuum on the system. We're going to use a micron gauge, and then, like I said, we're going to use ultrasonics and the bubble tests under pressure, you know, for nitrogen. So we are getting close to getting this thing done, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. You guys take care.